We're up here, high in the air. Gonna check on the harnesses, and we're going straight down there.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and like John ASSARAF'S says,
in life, you're gonna either pay the price of discipline or you're gonna pay the price of regret.
So let's help you get more discipline with John ASSARAF and my take on his top 10 rules to success.
Need motivation?
Watch top 10 with...
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation. Yeah, there you go. You ready? Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Stop procrastinating.
What's the number one reason we procrastinate? Is it because we want to? Have you ever heard of the law of secondary gain? So think about this for just a minute. When you procrastinate, is there a benefit? When you procrastinate, is there a benefit? Think of a secondary benefit. Is it possible, pay close attention, is it possible that when we procrastinate, maybe we're protecting ourselves? Have you ever thought about that? When I procrastinate, maybe I'm protecting myself. And so the question is, protecting myself from what? When I procrastinate, maybe I'm not doing what I need to do or want to do. I get that. But maybe I'm also protecting myself. The question is, protecting myself from what? Right? So think about this. Let me put a little meat around the bone for you, okay? When we procrastinate, a secondary benefit could be that we are fearful of, let's say, being embarrassed. I'll give you a couple of examples. So if I take the action that I need to take or want to take, whether it's asking for a raise, whether it's leaving my job and trying to find something new, leaving a relationship I'm not happy in, going across the room and asking a man or a woman what their name is, starting, a new career. Doing something sometimes has known and unknown consequences associated with it. So if we are afraid that if we take action and the action doesn't result in the desired outcome that we want, is it possible that the fear of failing or the fear of disappointing yourself or the fear of being embarrassed or the fear of being ashamed or the fear of being ridiculed or the fear of disappointing yourself one more time or the fear of losing money, is it possible that when your subconscious mind, is processing the potential consequences of the behavior, is it possible that as a protective mechanism, we procrastinate? Is it possible that, our $100 billion biocomputer, what I call is the Frankenstein's monster part of the brain, right? Is it possible that that part of the brain is causing the behavior we call procrastination, right? So is it possible that procrastination is, in many cases, a secondary gain mechanism to protect us? So we want to do what we want to do, the behavior, but our brain is always processing what is the potential negative consequence now or in the future. And if we deem that there's any chance of being embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, judged, disappointed, failure, loss, pain, discomfort, any of those types of potential feelings, potential results causes us to do what? To put the brakes on motivation, the motive for the action, put the brakes on behavior, the motor cortex in the brain, and then what do? We then go do something else that we feel is safer and easier for us because we already know what that behavior will give us. And usually we will move towards something pleasurable, something that's common, something that we've always done.
Rule number 2, stay in motion.
Listen, if you don't feel like doing something once in a while, then you're human.
Sure.
But let me know if this resonates with you, and whoever's listening, let me know if it resonates with you. Do you agree with this statement? In life, you're going to either pay the price of discipline or you're going to pay the price of regret. Discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. That's Jim Rohn, by the way. And so when you're sitting there and saying, I don't feel like it, my question for you is, what do you not feel like it more? Doing this little thing or living a life of regret?
Wow, that's huge.
Right? So let's create a juxtaposition against what I don't feel like doing, and let's use contrasting to say, are you okay with this being your character? Are you okay with this being your life forever? Are you okay with developing a lazy habit and lazy disciplines? Are you okay for the next 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30, 40 years, having that as your modus operandi and your identity? If you're okay with that, great, don't feel like it, don't do it, but then don't complain and don't want any more. But if you're not okay with the short-term and long-term consequences of that decision, then here's what I want you to say. I know I don't feel like it, but I will do just a little bit.
Love it.
Now, why just a little bit? Listen, I know the power of the mind when we don't feel like it, but I also know the power of our brain when we say, I know I don't feel like it, but I will just do 1 minute. What does that do? Now you develop a new pattern of hearing and feeling, I don't feel like it, and then you are in control saying, I'm going to override that, and I'm going to do a little. And so let me ask you a question just to put this into perspective. Can you jog a marathon right now? This is a question for everybody who's listening. Can you jog slowly a marathon right now, nonstop, 26.2 miles? Most people say, no, I can't jog 26.2 miles. But let me just prove something to you. Let's say we made, I'm gonna continue where we started. Let's say we made a commitment today. You're out of shape, you're lazy, you don't feel like it, you can't run a marathon, you don't know what to do, you don't know how to train, you don't know what to eat, you don't know how much to rest, you don't know what help you need. But let's say we committed that 1 year from now, we're gonna jog a marathon together slowly and safely. If today you made that commitment and all you did was get up, put on your running shoes, and moved in your living room for 1 minute. And tomorrow you move for 1 minute, and the next day for 1 minute, the other day for 1 minute. After 7 days, you'd have 7 minutes, and you'd also have somebody who may have been lazy, that didn't want to, that didn't know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, why to do it, now has exercised for 7 minutes. Now, what do you think that does to your self-image and self-esteem? Hey, I just did something every day for 7 days. Now maybe I can do more than I think I can. Now, what if you started watching videos on YouTube and maybe reading a little bit or talking to somebody who's run a marathon, say, hey, what did you do to exercise in month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? What did you do to eat? What foods did you stop? What did you do for your sleep? How much rest did you get? Maybe I should join a group of people who are beginners. And maybe in week 2, you just did 5 minutes a day. And in week 3, it's 10 minutes a day. And in week 4, it's 30 minutes every 2 days. Is it possible that if we made a commitment and we upgraded our knowledge and skills and we got into the environment maybe of some people that can help us and we can help them stay motivated, is it possible and probable that almost everyone 1 year from today could slowly and safely jog a marathon? Right. So all that has to happen is you have to make a commitment to not staying stuck right now. All you have to do is get started and do as little as possible to get in motion. Why? Because an object in motion tends to stay in motion. Newton's second law of thermodynamics. And an object at rest tends to stay at rest.
Rule number 3, change your beliefs.
At the end of your day or week, do you ever find yourself worried or frustrated because no matter how much effort you put in to work, and no matter how hard you work, your financial situation and your financial future may never seem to be improving? You might be finding yourself living paycheck to paycheck right now with not a lot of breathing room, and I would imagine no discretionary income or even time to spend on the little things that really would make your life more enjoyable. Well, what I can share with you is you're not alone. That's number one. And in most cases, the real problem is not your current circumstances. What the real problem is that most people repeat the same patterns of thought and behaviors over and over again, and that is the cause of what? More of the same results, but they are looking for different results. And so today, I'm going to show you how to break that pattern, break that cycle. Now you see, when you think of your results are effects. And so the question is, effects of what? And the answer is your results are all effects of what you believe to be true about yourself, what you believe to be true that is possible, and it also comes down to what are your daily habits. Now, if you think about what you believe and if you think about your habits, that is what is causing the effect that you may not like right now. And so a simple, logical thing to do would be to understand that if I could change my beliefs about what was possible and what was possible for me specifically, and I could create more empowering habits, then my result will change. And what I love to focus on, having done an enormous amount of brain research over the last 10 years, is something called your inner game. And your inner game is comprised of, obviously, your beliefs, your attitude, your perceptions, how you see the world, and your inner game is also comprised of what causes you to take action. And so let me share just a little story with you that may help you understand what I mean. About 2 years ago, I was at a seminar. And when I got off the stage, this woman started walking towards me. And I could see she was somewhere in her, 50s, maybe early 60s. She looked nice. She was a vibrant woman. She was walking right towards me. And I saw tears streaming down her eyes. And when she got through the crowd, for a moment I thought that maybe there was something wrong, but she actually had tears of joy in her eyes. And when I met her, her name was Joni Sanderson, and this was in Perth, Australia. And she came up to me, she said, "Thank you so much." And I go, "Well, for what?" She says, "Well, about a year ago, I heard you speak about beliefs and habits and mastering my emotions and really working on my self-worth." And she said to me that she was a caregiver and that she loved helping families who needed extra assistance for their aging parents or for their children who may need some additional help in the home. So she was a wonderful caregiver, but she was living on a widow's pension of about 12,000 Aussie dollars a year. And so she really didn't have enough money to be able to take the care of her grandkids that she wanted to be able to take her children on a vacation. And so I shared with her, "Why do you think that you're only earning $12,000 a year?" And she said, "I don't know." And when I shared with her that she possibly believed that that's what she was worth. And she said to me, well, I think I'm worth more. I said, well, you might be able to declare that you're worth more, but if at a deeper level of your brain, you have this feeling that maybe you're not smart enough or not good enough or not worthy enough, that is what is going to drive your behavior. And so what I helped Joni do prior to her coming to me and being in gratitude was I helped her recognize that beliefs drive behavior. Beliefs drive emotions. Habits drive behavior. And in order to change your results, living paycheck to paycheck, being stressed out, worrying about your future or even your present circumstances right now, why not focus on working on the neural patterns, the beliefs and habits that are nothing more than patterns in the brain that drive 96 to 98% of your behavior. And so she started to work on what I call a belief and habit modification program. And while she did this, she started to see herself in a different light. She started to feel more confident, more certain, and more empowered. And what I can share with you is she, at that moment, told me that she went from making $12,000 a year as from a widow's pension and living paycheck to paycheck to being able to charge for her services, and she was making $75,000 a year.
Rule number 4, expand your horizon.
People are focusing on all the reasons why it's hard and difficult, and they're not focusing on remembering that there are hundreds of millions of people online every single day. Actually, 2 billion a day are online. So you have to expand your horizon to what is and focus on what can be. Now, somebody type this in right now if you can. I'm going to give you a formula that has helped me build 5 multi-million-dollar companies from scratch to billions in sales a year. Okay, are you ready? Here is a magic formula for you. Here's the magic formula. Traffic times conversion, or prospects times conversion, equals revenue. Prospects times conversion equals revenue. Traffic times conversion, either one, prospects. So the company, the person who has the product or the service that gets in front of the most amount of people with the right offer. Let me repeat, the company, the person that gets in front of the most amount of people with the right offer makes the most amount of money. So here is my question for you right now. Are you getting your product or service in front of people in your local marketplace, in your national marketplace, or online? Right? So if you are not waking up every day trying to figure out how do I get my product or my service and what I'm offering people in front of more people, either through advertising, either through networking, either through joint ventures, either through content, either through a variety of different means, you're going out of business because there's more than enough people online or offline. I'm giving you an option. It doesn't matter. Even if you have a store, a stall, a kiosk, even if you're selling your stuff online, it doesn't make a difference. You have to be focusing on how do I get more people to see what I have to offer? And then how do I create an offer that is so good that the people who want it and need it buy from me? If you're not waking up thinking about that, it's very hard to build your business.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, commit.
Now, if you can go back and tell your 18 years old, what would you like to tell him?
You don't need to be so afraid of making mistakes. You don't need to be so afraid of looking dumb. You don't need to be so afraid of not having the knowledge or the skills. There are ways, there are teachers, there are books, there are coaches, there's more information available for free today, okay, than at any time in the history of our species. If you're really committed, there's a way. People will help you. But if you're not committed, you'll never find a way, and nobody can help you because you're not prepared to help yourself.
Rule number 6, apply knowledge.
In the absence of knowing, we default to our highest level of training, knowledge, and skill. So now that you know, you don't know because you've heard me talk about it. Now you have awareness. Do you know how you will know? Is when you apply what I just shared with you and you have the visceral experience that reinforces a neural pattern of just knowledge with behavior. Knowledge with behavior equals experience. Reading a book gives you awareness. It doesn't give you knowledge. The knowledge comes from the application and getting the feedback loops of all of the senses integrated into a pattern. And then if you reinforce what you know with what you do, you end up with results.
Rule number 7, have a big why.
Why must you grow your business? Why must you? Can you give me one answer why I must figure this out? And I'm going to tell you why this is important from a brain perspective, okay? Not why I should. Why must you figure this out? Why must you? All right. If you want to build $1 million business that has profits of $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, if you want to build a $500,000 business that has profits of $100,000 or $200,000, here's what I want you to understand. When you set a goal to achieve what you want, you're using this part of the brain, right? And many of you know that's the specialty that I love to talk about is the neuroscience of the success. But you also have to get the limbic system, the emotional part of your brain, activated. When we come up with a why that is bigger than the stories, the reasons, the excuses, and pay close attention. When we come up with a why that is bigger than the stories, the reasons, and the excuses that are holding us back now, we will then master change instead of mastering disappointment. Did you get that? You have to come up with a reason why you must upgrade your knowledge, your skills, your beliefs, your habits, and your behaviors, or you will find it easier to master disappointment versus mastering change.
Rule number 8, have the right mindset.
I had this crazy dream last night that I was taken in an airplane and all of my clothes were socked away in a suitcase, and I was broke, didn't have any contacts, didn't have any computers, didn't even have my cell phone, which I'm gonna go outside right now. And I was left with nothing other than what I had in my head, my knowledge, my skills. And I looked at my bank account, there was no money there. And it was just the most bizarre feeling, almost like a little nightmare. And then something dawned on me. What dawned on me was that I didn't need any money. I didn't need any clothes. I didn't need any tools. All I needed was to tap into what I've got in here. 59 years of knowledge and skill building, 59 years of successes and failures, 59 years of figuring out how to make it work. And so here's what I'm going to ask you if you're a business owner. Do you have the right mindset to be dropped off anywhere in the world with nothing, no money, no phone, maybe just access to a computer? And could you, in less than a year or two, make enough money to thrive? Could you get out of debt? Could you make the thing happen? Now, here's why I ask you this. When you lose everything, which fortunately I've never had to do. But when you lose everything, you realize one thing. If you've got the mindset of what you need to do, how you need to think, how to manage your emotions, and you have the skill set to, for example, grow a business, generate leads, brand your business, create messaging that people are going to resonate with, create sales processes, that you can take people through a logical and emotional ride to be able to get more clients and make more money. You realize that all of the confidence, all of the self-worth, all of the things that you need are already within you. But if you don't have that, that's what's going to cause the lack of self-discipline. That's what's going to cause procrastination. That's what's going to cause self-sabotage. That's what's going to cause uncertainty. So here is your trick. You want to achieve more success in your life? Focus every day on your mindset. Focus every day on upgrading your skill set so it matches the vision and the goals you want to achieve. And focus every day on the 3 highest income producing activities that you should do and the 3 highest impact producing activities. And guess what will happen? You will be able to start from 0 or below 0, and you'll be able to achieve the financial, business, life success that you want to achieve.
Rule number 9, trade your life for your passion.
It's 2021, and there's 108 or so billion humans that have walked on planet Earth since the beginning of our time as a species here on Earth. Everything that we want to achieve, for the most part, 99.5% of what we want to achieve in health, wealth, relationships, career, business, fun, experiences, spirituality, has already been achieved by others, and there's already blueprints for what we need to think, how to manage our feelings, what we need to do, how to develop habits. So all the how-to that almost every one of us needs is already here. But you will only go after and find and apply all those things if you're committed to.
Yep.
So make a commitment to trading your life for what you love, and for trading your life for what will make you feel phenomenal, and then go and find the teachers and the other people that are on the same path looking to achieve those goals, because together, if we help each other, we can achieve the goals faster and easier than ever before.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is have fun.
I'm going to just chill out here on the beach in Malibu and get a little bit of sunshine when it comes up. It's a little cloudy day. It was beautiful yesterday. I'll go for some nice walks along the beach. I'll show you a little, just looking on the beach. Oh, there, I'll take my tripod. Look at that. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That side and beautiful on that side. Whoa.
In 2021, we know all the marketing and selling ways to make more money. So your problem is not that the how-to doesn't exist. Your challenge is not that the how doesn't exist. The challenge is you may be focusing on the wrong things. You may be focusing on what is. You may be focusing on the problems. You may be focusing on the wrong things when all of the how-to, is readily available. I'm curious, can you answer what is the revenue goal that you have for 2021 for your business? What's the revenue goal you have for 2021 in your business? And I'm going to see that. So let's come up with, we set a goal first, okay? If we set a goal between now and the end of the year, and we come up with a plan of how we're going to generate enough leads. Here's a question that I want to ask each of you. I'm going to take you to another part of your brain, and this is the logical deductive reasoning part of your brain. Let's say you have a number that you want to achieve by the end of the year. Do you know how many leads you need, how many prospects you need, and how many sales you need to make in order to achieve that number? How many leads do you need this month, next month, the month after that? How many sales do you need this month, next month, the month after? Do you know the math to getting there? Yes, it's a yes or no question, okay? Do you know the math of how many people do you need to get your product, service, or offering in front of And do you know your conversion number? I gave you the success formula earlier, right? Traffic times conversion equals revenue. Do you know how much traffic you need or prospects you need based on your conversion number to be able to achieve the goal that you want? Zulika, no, if you don't know that number, then you are using the drug of choice to build your business. Can anybody tell me the drug of choice to building a company? Can you tell me the drug of choice to building a company? All right. Hopium. I hope I make that amount of money. I pray that I make that amount of money. I'd really love to make that amount of money. Hopium is not a good strategy. So understand this, okay? If you're in business, you need to understand a little bit of math. So if your conversion is 0, that means you need to upgrade your selling skills and possibly your offer. So you have to know the math, and then you have to determine, where am I going to get the prospects that want what I have to offer?
Setting goals is an intellectual and imagined exercise that your conscious brain, right? I'm going to show you one of the little brains today from the sitting here on my desk. Your conscious brain, left prefrontal cortex specifically, where you get to choose. What is it you would love to have your life be like? What is the imagination, of the ideal life that you'd like? He says everybody could do that. He says, but achieving goals happens as a result of having the right beliefs, perceptions, habits, attitudes, at the non-conscious level, where all of the habits reside, part of the hippocampus, part of your brain that drives your automatic behavior day in and day out, is what is going to determine whether you achieve those goals or not. He says using willpower to achieve goals is like using gunpowder. It's just a starter. Using resilience or using your imagination, those are all really good conscious abilities that anybody can use. He says, but if you don't develop the habits at the non-conscious level, which include your self-image for how you see your life, you're never going to achieve those goals.
When I was 5, 6, 7 years old, I moved from Israel to Montreal. I spoke Hebrew, but not English or French. And for 2.5 years, I felt dumb. I felt like I wasn't smart enough and I wasn't good enough, and I was made fun of as a kid. That led to me being involved in street gangs from the age of 12 to 16.
Wow. In Montreal?
In Montreal.
Wow.
We trafficked drugs from Florida. We did break-in entries. We had a little street gang, about 12 of us that just got into a lot of trouble. My path was either jail or the morgue, one of the two. And there's a lot of successful people that have that kind of a story for some strange reason. And at 19, I met a mentor. His name was Alan Brown. He was a real estate developer.
Still in Montreal?
No, this was I moved from Montreal after years of turbulence. I finally broke free and moved from Montreal to Toronto, which is about 350 miles.
Gotcha. In Canada still.
Canada, yeah. And May 1980, I took my real estate course. June 20th, 1980, I became licensed as a real estate agent. And the reason I did is I met a man the weekend before that my brother introduced me to, who was into personal development.
Yeah.
And he was into, Zig Ziglar and Dennis Waitley and Brian Tracy's, 35 years ago. And he introduced me to this world of the mind, introducing me to the world of changing my beliefs, changing my habits, changing my perceptions of first, who are you? And he really helped me see that, the spiritual greatness within everybody, the intelligence that's within everybody. He had me start with getting in touch with that. And it was very philosophical and didn't have the evidence that we have today on affirmations, visualization, meditation, mindfulness, subliminal programming, habit creation, and all of the different methodologies that we've all heard about, whether it was the astronauts that went to the moon initially that trained their brains, or the musicians that have, or the athletes that do. The science now is just so phenomenal on what is actually happening. And so as I was building my own companies,
I built my companies by training my employees not on the skills that they needed, but on how spectacular they were as human beings. And the greatness was within them. And if they trained their brain to have the belief that is, they may not have the skill or the know-how, but if you have the belief that I can, I will, I must.
You can build the habit.
You can build the habit. You can start to. If you think about this, I don't care if we asked any question on health, wealth, relationships, career, business, spirituality, we wanted to find the answer to something.
Yeah.
We could Google it and within minutes have everything we want to know about it.
Tutorials, everything we need.
Tutorials, videos, audios, how to, step-by-step, blueprint, color coordinated, whatever you want. So our problem isn't how to. All the how to exists. How to build a business exists. How to be a great lover exists. You know, it all exists.
How to get in shape. Yes.
Right. So I wanted to focus on, how do I help more people take more of the action they know they should be and want to? We have this phenomenal brain, right? It's genius abilities. We can't figure out how to replicate it anywhere with billions of dollars, but we are getting some of the user's manual now. So when you feel fear, what should you do? I teach the first 2 exercises that I teach every one of our students. Number 1 is called Take 6, Calm the Circuits. So if you have this unpleasant, anxious, fearful emotion, energy in motion, right? And it's unpleasant and the brakes have gone on, if you just take 6 deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth like you're breathing through a straw, you will deactivate the stress response center, which means blood is going to go back to the left prefrontal cortex. The Einstein part of the brain can actually think through this problem, because what happens when the stress response center is activated, blood goes away from that into the fear response. So you have epinephrine, cortisol, adrenaline to be able to get you out of the situation. It's part of our instinctual brain, part of the reptilian brain. The first part of the brain that was developed was that, then the mammalian brain, the limbic system, then the neocortex, the thinking brain. So when our brain has this signal of, oh my God, you might get hurt, you might lose this, you might get in trouble, you might be embarrassed, ashamed, ridiculed, judged, etc., that part of the brain is going to get activated. So if you take 6 deep breaths first, calm down, calm the circuits first, then do exercise number 2 is called AYA, A-I-A. The first A is for awareness. What am I thinking right now? What am I feeling right now? What am I sensing right now? What is my behavior right now? So you thoughts, feelings, sensations, awareness of behavior. What's my intention right now? That's the I. Well, my intention is to move forward. I want to do this. Great. What's one very small action step that you can take? Now, the reason you want to take one small action step is one small action step your brain can handle. If it's one small step towards it, the threat response goes away. But if you focus on the end game right away, you're going to get that rush and that instant trigger of the fear response, stress response. So the first thing you want to do is learn how to manage your mindset and what you focus on. Learn how to manage your emotions, because they drive your behavior more than anything else, because we move away from pain and we move towards pleasure, but we move away from pain 1,000 times faster. And pain wires in the brain faster for survival mechanisms. So purely from a neuroscience perspective, just understanding self, once you understand, oh, okay, this feeling is normal, okay, what should I do? Take 6, calm the circuits, Aya, and now you can start being progressive and make progress towards what you want. Are you interested in achieving that vision for your life? Are you interested in achieving those goals, or are you committed? Are you interested or are you committed? And I didn't know what the difference really was at the time. And so I asked him, Mr. Brown, what's the difference? And he said to me, he says, if you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. If you're interested, you'll use the fact that you didn't like school and you didn't do well in school to control your thinking and your self-esteem. He said, if you're interested, you'll come up with stories and excuses why you can't achieve those goals and dreams that you shared with me. You'll come up with stories and excuses as to why you don't want to do the work necessary to grow and to learn what you need to learn. He says, however, If you are committed, he says you will do whatever it takes. You will upgrade your knowledge, you'll upgrade your skills, you'll become who you need to become, and you'll learn from whoever you need to learn to be able to achieve those goals and dreams. So, lesson number 1 is no matter what goal or vision you have, ask yourself that question, okay? Are you interested in achieving that goal and dream? Or are you really, really, really committed and willing to do whatever it takes?
A lot of people are stressed right now. Why? Text, phone, mobile, radio, TV, Facebook, Twitter, all this. It's just non-stop stress in the brain. And when the brain feels stressed, then obviously cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine kick in, and that's a stress hormone. Well, it's like having, your finger on the electricity button all day long and you're just not stopping. So you start to burn the fibers, your nerves. While you're in the what am I thinking, feeling, it's a chance to be aware. And the biggest gift we have as human beings is our awareness. Because awareness is what gives you choice, and choice is what gives you freedom. Most people are living their lives in a reactive state, automatic reactive state, because of these set points that we started talking about. So we're in this repetitive cycle over and over and over and over. We react to the same things, we behave the same way, we eat the same foods, we dress the same way, just to maintain that homeostasis and comfort zones. And we've never been taught. Like when were we taught as kids? Like, here are your 6 core emotions. Here's the way you deactivate your stress center or fear center. Here's how you activate your imagination center. Here's how you have more focus. Here's how you develop a new belief. Here's how you develop a new habit. Here's how you release one. We haven't been taught that. We've been told they're important things, but we haven't been given the tools, and then we haven't practiced the tools enough to be able to make them part of our unconscious competence brain. We started to retrain our agents' brains after we did an event. 75 agents paid, I think it was $2,000 or $3,000 to go through a 6-month brain retraining program. Huh. Those 75 agents increased our sales by $100 million. Wow. And we said, okay, we're going to teach this to the entire company. Yeah. So we went from $1.2 billion to $4.5 billion in sales a year in 3 years by working on this versus what they needed to do.
What you'll see is just patterns and more patterns. The entire universe is made up of patterns that could be explained mathematically for the most part, but we can also just see behaviors. And so it's not difficult, but it takes effort to be able to override some of the natural, brain's propensity, the brain's desire to keep us away from hurting ourselves.
To re-educate our brain.
Yeah. And if you think about, when we're young, what do our parents do? Oh, be careful. Oh, don't fall down. Oh, watch out how you ride the bicycle. And if you fall down, well, my kids, when they were young, I let them fall and I let them do things so that they would get accustomed to get up. I wouldn't go and baby them. Yes. They'd fall down. It was like, great, you fell down, get back up.
Because they learn that it's okay.
Yeah, most kids, when they fall down, they'll look at an adult to see, well,
is it okay or not?
Is it okay or not? And usually the adults are either going to baby them and overcompensate, or they're going to look at them and say, come on, get up and do what you need to do. What is a belief? And let's go to, again, I just like to go to the neuroscience field because it's just my passion now, is a belief is nothing more than a group of cells that have been connected and then reinforced. And we have 2 types of beliefs. We have beliefs that
Really fast, I'm going to stop you there because that's so important.
Okay. Yeah.
And so different than I would have expected. I think when people hear belief, it is believe in something that is true, which did not enter into your definition.
No, we believe, whatever we believe is truth for us, but it's not the truth.
That's really interesting.
Right, but we have been conditioned. If we go back a little bit to what we talked about earlier about, when you were a baby, when you were born, what belief did you have? 0. Right. Goose egg, 0, not 1. And so you learned what to believe and how to even formulate your beliefs, chances are from parents, teachers, brothers, sisters, television, maybe when you read some books, right? And we behave based on what we believe. So we might be behaving our lives away based on false or inaccurate or disempowering beliefs. So if a belief is a neural pattern in the brain, then we probably have some good ones, empowering ones, useful ones, and chances are we have some that are not useful, not empowering, and not worthy of the geniuses that we all are. So the question is it possible for me to develop new beliefs that I don't believe right now? The answer is yeah. The key factors to becoming a loser.
Let's imagine that together we build a training to help people
To become a loser.
Yeah.
Repeatedly thinking, feeling, and doing the wrong things every day.
Okay, great things.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have another one?
Hanging around with the wrong people. Your environment.
Is it working?
Your environment shapes who you are.
Okay.
Very, very much. When I was getting into trouble as a young man, the people that I was hanging around with were also getting into trouble. When I was a little boy, I remember my father, he used to tell me, he says, show me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
And so you're going to be the sum of the people that you invest the most amount of time with. Whether it's at home, your friends, your family, or your business people. So if you tend to be around winners, you'll start to, by sheer environmental factors, listen and learn how they think. You'll be able to observe what they do. You'll learn the skills that they've acquired. And if you hang around with losers, you'll see patterns. Everything in life is about a pattern. And so people who are unsuccessful and losers, which I don't even like to use the term loser, although there are some, not a lot, they have got habitual patterns of destruction, self-sabotaging thoughts and self-sabotaging behaviors. And people who are successful, and I don't mean just financially, people who are successful in their health, their relationships, charitable contributions, they have consistent, successful patterns that are constructive towards being successful.
After I got into real estate and I traveled the world, I ended up buying the franchising rights for RE/MAX for the state of Indiana. And I was 26 years old.
Wow.
And I bought the franchising rights for Indiana, moved to Indiana. Wow. And I remember being interviewed for the Indianapolis Business Journal. And the guy said, what are your goals here in Indiana? 26 years old. I was wearing, I remember a brown pinstripe suit. And I had glasses on, even though I didn't need glasses. I just wanted to look older. And I said, we'll do $1 billion in sales in Indiana. And the gentleman said to me, says, are you certain of that? I said, well, that's my goal. He says, well, the two largest companies that have been here for 100 years don't do $100 million, $1 billion combined. And my cocky young self, I said, well, we'll be the first. He's like, what? 3 weeks later, the Indianapolis Business Journal, and I have it at home, it says, sets $1 billion goal.
Wow.
May 1992, we hit $1 billion in sales 5 years later.
One of the things that I was taught playing sports was repetition is the mother of skill. Repetition is the mother of skill, which is another lesson that I learned at a very young age. Why does any piano coach, guitar coach, coach for sports have their students repeat drills over and over and over and over again, whether it's layups or free throws or playing, certain chords on the guitar or on the piano? Why is repetition so important? The answer is because when you repeat a pattern over and over and over again, whether it's a language pattern, an emotional pattern, or a behavioral pattern, when you repeat it over and over and over and over again, 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, 200 times, 500 times, 1,000 times, you actually are creating patterns in the brain that initially go from being conscious patterns, patterns that require effort and intention and attention, your conscious mind, to patterns that become non-conscious, that require less energy and less attention because it's been repeated so many times it becomes second nature. You have to use intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So you have to start everybody off, well, why is it important for you to be able to develop these new beliefs? Like, what will your life be like if you had them right now? What would your family life be like? You have to give them a benefit that's greater than the switch cost.
That's interesting.
Right? So the switch cost is something that our brain resists. The only human that likes change is a wet baby. Every other human being is resistant to it because safety first and homeostasis and energy conservation. So we are biologically wired not to want it to change. So we have to deliberately coax the brain into motivational reasons, emotional reasons. You have to have intrinsic reason. Why must you do this? And so you can use pain as a frame as well. So if you don't, then are you okay with your life being like this at this age in 5 years, in 10 years, in 20 years? And if you're okay with that, then you're not a candidate for change. But if you're committed to letting go of the old so you can create the new, and you create motivations every day, that's where the power is. Remember earlier, progress, not perfection. So anybody can do 1 minute or 10 seconds. So if you can start to formulate a habit, a daily habit, a weekly habit, it doesn't matter how long it is. If you can create that space in your brain that on this day, at this time, this is what I do, and you do that repeatedly, that becomes a habit. And it takes those 66 days or so for a simple habit that you have to consciously do to then the habit doing you. For the last, 35 years, what I've been doing is I've had coaches for skill training. I've had coaches and mentors for mindset training. I've had coaches on brain training. I've had coaches for business skills and training. I've had coaches and mentors and experts for every different area of my life, whether it's health, nutrition, business, money, investing, getting out of debt, making more money, protecting your assets. There are experts for every single area of our lives that already know what you need to do. If you're going to be uncomfortable, your reward has to be big.
Yeah, I think so.
So if you're going to be making a change, ask yourself, why is what I want to achieve so important to me? Why am I willing to use my new willpower and persistence? And why am I willing to go through the discomfort of change? Why am I willing to listen to the negative talk that I have or the emotion that I have and still do it anyway? And if you don't have a big enough reason, the first time you have a chance for an excuse, you'll take it. And that's why they start on diets, and after a day or a week or 2 weeks, they're off the diet. Or they say, you know what, I'm not happy in my relationship. And 2 weeks later, they're back with the same person, or they find another person just like the one that they left. Or people are afraid to leave their jobs because they don't like the discomfort of change.
Yeah.
Well, the only certain thing in the universe, the only constant is change.
Yeah, every time, change.
Everything, that's the only constant in the universe. It's an oxymoron. It's like, how can change be the only constant, the only stable thing? Because everything's changing. So why not acquire the skill
To change every time.
to be comfortable in change? And in today's era...
To be comfortable with the incomfort.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and so I know that the meaning that I give, remember I said you have to reframe things?
Yes.
The meaning I give things now is when I'm uncomfortable, I'm changing and I'm growing and I go, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's uncomfortable, but this is what I want,
Yeah.
right? And then so we go through these waves of comfort and change, and that's just like the waves of life.
Every morning when you wake up, you have, let's say it's 10 attention units. If you're using 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of them on why you can't,
unit? What do you
an
mean?
attention unit is your ability to stay focused. And your ability to stay focused
is happening at the conscious and non-conscious level. So if you're processing stuff in the back of your mind of something you're angry at, something you're mad at, something that's stressing you out, or you don't have enough money, or you don't have the right relationships or the contacts or whatever, if you're stressing out about that stuff and that's eating up your attention units, that's like having your computer, okay, using up most of its energy in what's behind that you're not using. Yeah. And we all have a certain amount of attention units every day. And so one of the things that you asked me before that I can come back to on the rituals is using the attention units in a way that is highly, highly productive versus wasting a lot of time. And so my ritual, we started earlier, I just remembered that, is wake up, meditation, exercise, plant-based protein smoothie, followed by reviewing my goals.
Every day you review your goals?
Every day, 5 minutes.
The goals for the day, the month, the year?
Everything. Yeah. I review my overarching goals. Wow. I could do that fairly quickly because that's my longer range goals. I can review the emotions that I want because I'm committed to having those emotions every day and feeling a certain way every day. And then I take a look at from 5 years out, 3 years, 1 year, 90 days, 60 days to today.
Wow.
And so I just review it. And what happened?
On a piece of paper, the iPad,
laminated and on my computer.
Really?
Yeah. And I have it in a booklet also. Really? So when I travel, it's really easy.
Do you have it with you?
No. It's a pretty big.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's like a little manual.
You'll have to send me a photo so I can see it.
Yeah, I'll send you. It's called My Exceptional Life Blueprint.
I like it.
And so the question many people may ask is why? Why would you do that? Well, because you're having 35 to 50,000 thoughts a day, right? And your brain isn't certain like what's really important and what's not. Yeah. But if you instruct your brain that something is really important, whether it's something you don't want or something you do, it will actually pay attention to you.
Right.
So by priming my brain early every day, here is what I want you to focus on. Here are the emotions I want you to express through me. Here's the behaviors that I need to take. Then I am on a daily basis setting the course for what I want my brain to focus on. I am cognitively priming the pump. And if I do it one day, that's great. If I do it 60 days, 100 days, my brain goes, hey, I'm just going to make this freaking automatic because I want to conserve energy. Right? I'm just going to make it automatic. So not only will you focus on it consciously, but I'm just going to make everything happen behind the scenes to help you see, think, and feel things that are congruent with what you're trading your life for and what you want to achieve. Sure. So I'm just using the system better. On my epitaph, he lived, he loved, he gave, he had fun. I always thought that if there's a way that I could somehow use my life in a way that I can make somebody else's life a little bit easier to live, either through knowledge or understanding or love or a process, then my life has been worthwhile. And so awesome. I just want to make a difference. And I'm one of the people that doesn't believe that there's anything wrong in the world. Everything's unfolding exactly as it should. There are many things not to my taste that I don't understand, but I just want to make the journey as good as I can for as many people as I can. There was actually a very, very big mistake in the movie The Secret.
Okay.
And in the movie The Secret, the story that was told was that all you have to do is think, believe in your heart, and you'll achieve. It's not true. There's a lot of people who think wonderful, great thoughts. They believe that I deserve this and I can have this. But they don't do one thing, and this is what causes their problem. You know what that one thing is?
I want to know.
They don't take consistent action every day. So in The Secret, they didn't talk about you have to do the right things in the right order at the right time. And they led a lot of people to believe that all you have to do is think about it. Well, I've never met a monk in a monastery who's been praying to make money and through the ceiling a safe falls with $1 million. I've never met that yet. But I have met a lot of people who think and believe, and then they learn what they need to learn. They upgrade their knowledge and their skills. They overcome their fears. They overcome their doubts. They overcome their lack of confidence. They overcome their lack of certainty, and they take action anyway. And then little by little, things start to happen for them. They achieve the results. And we call that the law of Goya, Goya, get off your ass. So law of attraction.
It's my favorite law.
Law of attraction and law of Goya together, that's what works. When it comes to the problems that come up every day, I mean, it's like weather. Mm-hmm. It's sunny for a little bit, it's raining, it's hailing, it's windy, it's not. That's life. And that goes back to where we started a little bit earlier about the frames, is if you expect things to always be great, you're delusional. Mm-hmm. If you expect things to always be bad, that may be a little bit, that might happen. And so it's a matter of learning the frames and how do you frame stuff. So even when, I was going through this challenging times on a lot of fronts, the frame was still good. Habits run themselves. Their subconscious programs just run themselves. Most people don't take the time to become aware. What are my empowering habits? What are my disempowering habits? And then the next question is, well, how do I release this one? And how do I strengthen this one or create a whole new one? And what we're looking to do is build empowering habits that then run their course. When somebody tells me they've done everything, usually they've done everything that they're aware of doing. But there has to be something, if we go back to some brain research and some brain neuroscience findings, there's a part of the brain that chooses the goal that we want to achieve. And that's in the conscious part of the brain, and that's responsible for about 2 to 4% of what you see and what you do.
Yeah.
That's called the explicit memory system, or the declarative part of the brain. I can declare. So I'll give you an example. I could read a book, and 10 minutes later I could tell you what I've read in the book. I can declare everything that's in the book. I can tell you, you know what, this is a great book. I'm so excited. I'm so motivated, and I'm going to make $1 million. But if at the implicit level, beneath the conscious mind, at the implicit level, in secret, they say, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm smart enough. I don't know if I deserve to make $1 million. I don't have the right knowledge. I didn't go to college. I'm male, I'm female, I'm too young, I'm too old. If there's a disconnect between the implicit, the part of our brains that's the real you and me, the hidden part of our self-image, if there is a contradiction between my goal and even what I've learned and what I secretly believe to be true about myself, if there isn't the coherence between the two, the hidden self-image will always win. So one of the most important things is to create what I call is neural coherence, or coherence in the brain. And the best way to think about coherence in the brain is, imagine if you go to listen to a band, rock and roll band, jazz band, a classical band, whatever. And every player, or every musician is playing the music, but not in harmony.
Yeah, new style.
You're never going to have a beautiful symphony. So the way our brain works is, if we don't have the symphony at the different parts of the brain, we'll do some good things and some good actions, and then we'll do some things that will take away from that. And so what we want to have is coherence. Get the brain, the implicit and the explicit part of the brain, coherence, playing together in harmony, then moves the body into action consistently. Now we have flow. Now we have a way for us to take our ideas and take action consistently to achieve results. An hour a day to upgrade your mindset and your skill set. 1 hour a day is all you need to set aside to upgrade your beliefs, your habits, your attitude, your perceptions, your emotional management, and upgrade the skills that you need in order to play at the next level of success. So if you calculate 1 hour a day is 365 hours in a year, that equals 9 40-hour weeks. 9 40-hour weeks. After 1 year, you're really good. After 2 years, you're really, really good. After 3, 4, 5, 6 years of doing this every day, just upgrading your knowledge and skills with expert information and knowledge and strategies and tactics, you are in a whole different place in your life. So invest 1 hour a day to upgrade your mindset and your skill set so your action set, what you need to do, becomes automatic instead of something you have to consciously try to do every day. Because mindset plus skill set plus action set equals your results.
I've just come through a really challenging time. I was in business with one of my very best friends of 30 years. And we started a company together in 2006 or so. And he ended up with severe diabetes and had a stroke and had a heart attack. And it went, everything just went hell in a handbasket. Lost lots of money, lots of employees. We had about 70 plus employees. We let them go, closed the company down. I had friends of mine who put $2 million into the deal. I put a couple $1 million into the deal. And it was, all my intellectual property that I developed over 6 years was basically held up in a legal lawsuit that I had with one of my shareholders and investors. And it was a very challenging time. Wow. It was reputation, IP, start from scratch,
assets,
relationships,
everything.
Yeah, lots. So it was a challenging, very, very challenging time. And fortunately, because of my meditative practices, staying aware of what is, not buying too much into that, I just started building a new company over the last 4 years, and I've got 30 amazing team members now at our company at NeuroGym. My relationship with my wife is great. My kids are awesome. My health has never been better. I became vegan about 5 years ago. Stopped drinking alcohol 7 years ago. Gave up sugar about 3 weeks ago.
Let me know how long you keep it up.
I made a decision now. It's a year. So the
1 year, no sugar.
1 year. 1 year, no refined sugar.
Sweets. Yeah.
No refined sugar. If there happens to be honey on, on something, then a little bit's fine. But no refined sugar. No cookies, no cakes, no chocolate bars, no soft drinks, nothing. Well, right now I don't have any cravings whatsoever. Wow. Zero.
Wait till the holidays.
Zero. You know what? I just came back from Montreal, and I was there for the holidays, and the dessert table was about as big as this, and I just said no. And a week before, actually 4 days before that, I was in Las Vegas at Encore at the buffet, and I actually took a video of everything that was there, and I said, now, what I did beforehand is I pre-committed. Before I went to Las Vegas, I said, now, when I go to the buffet, here's what I will do. When I go to this restaurant, here's what I will do. So I pre-committed in advance, played it over in my mind 10, 15, 20 times, put myself in the situation in my mind. And then when I was there, it was no easy, breezy, because I'd done it 10, 20, 30 times. God, so I did that. And so when I went to Montreal, usually I go to Montreal and all hell goes loose. My mother, is always been every day. Not anymore. But my sister's taken over.
Oh yeah.
So the the food that's there and the desserts that are there, breakfast
there too. I love poutine.
Oh yeah, so you can go dessert. But the desserts for me was the hardest part. But it was like easy breezy.
It's I own my feelings and my emotions and my results. I own my feelings, my emotions, and my results. I learned how to be responsible, to be able to respond to emotions that are unpleasant, to feelings that are, yucky. I learned that whatever was happening in my world, I had the ability to upgrade my skill so that I can use everything that happens in a way that serves me as opposed to a way that hurts me or moves me back. Any conflicts that you are experiencing is going to create neural dissonance in your brain. It's just going to create chaos in your brain. And so if you take it out of your head and you put it on a sheet of paper, you can look at it, and now you're one step removed from what's happening in your brain. And so the more you can be in coherence, it's the equivalent of being part of a band that's in harmony, that every player is just like, oh man, this just sounds so good. Well, the more you can be in coherence, the more you're going to be in flow, and the more you're going to take action. The more chaos there is in the brain, neural chaos, whether it's because of emotions, you're lacking something, there's conflict, there's resistance, the more you can get it out into the in front of you and open and say, well, what's causing this? There's a misconception that business is easy. And I have a lot of clients of mine, for example, that are doctors and lawyers and professionals that have an expertise in a certain area. But nobody's ever taught them about finance, about legal, if they're not a lawyer, about marketing, about sales,
management,
about technology, about operations, about management. And being an entrepreneur is like solving a Rubik's Cube.
Yes, I see that.
Right? So you can have the 2x2 with 2 colors, it's easy. If you want a little bit bigger business, that's 3x3. There's more combinations and more things that need to be considered. 4x4 now has billions of different moves. Just 4x4 is billions of different possibilities.
Wow.
When you get to the 8x8 or 16x16 Rubik's Cube, there's quintillions of possible moves that you can make. So building a business is all about recognizing patterns and knowing which move to make at the right time. Did you know that some of the most recent studies on setting goals and writing them out or typing them out on your computer will actually increase your chances of achieving those goals by up to 42%? Why? Well, as soon as you put the energy to writing out your goals and getting clarity, you're giving your brain the instruction that this is what's important to you. This is what you want to achieve. So don't be like all the other people where they have goals and dreams and they hope and pray for it to work. Be the type of person who sets her goals or his goals in writing and then focus on that every day and you'll achieve more of your goals.
Every brain has a fat set point. And it basically states that you have a set point, just like a thermostat that's programmed in a room to have a set point. We have fat set points. We have financial set points. We have relationship set points. We have these set points that we become accustomed to achieving. And then all of the supporting evidence, the stories, the themes, the plot lines, the perceptions and behaviors all must match the set point. And so you can ask yourself 2 questions. Number one is, how did that set point get there? And then how do I change it? Right? So how it got there is through all of your conditioning, through what you've read, what you've done, what you've experienced, what you've been told, what you've seen. All of that has created your financial set point based on your story. And so the first thing to recognize is the set point can be changed. And the question is how? Right? And that's the $1 million question. So number one, what drives behavior more than anything else? It's not skill. It's not knowledge. Skill and knowledge is potential power, but what does drive behavior more than anything else is beliefs. And so if there is a belief in the brain that says, yes, I think I'm capable of achieving double my income. We'll just use double my income. But there's another belief that opposes that. That causes what we know as neural dissonance. So it creates a chaotic vibration in the brain between the conscious and non-conscious mind. So the key is to get alignment between the new goal, which is a conscious pattern of thought that you can choose in an instant, and the non-conscious part of the brain around that goal. So how do you develop a belief, right? So it's a pattern. So if I gave you a sentence and you said that sentence one time, you probably, great, it'd be a sentence like one. I was like hearing a line in a song one time. But if you heard a line in a song repeatedly 20, 30, 40, 50 times, and you had other associations with that to reinforce that pattern, then you would start to develop a non-conscious pattern through that. So we know that using, let's say, visualization, you're actually bypassing the conscious mind and you're accessing the visual cortex of the brain. It's a non-conscious process, the visual processor. And so if we take words and we affirm them and we feel them and we visualize them and repeat them 100, 200, 500, 1,000 times, now we start to create a pattern at the non-conscious level that basically reinforces a conscious desire.
A lot of people ask me about money all the time. It's one of the things we teach people how to do is grow their businesses and how to make more money. And they say, well, I want to make more money. I said, well, in order to make more money, first you have to believe that you can, right? Then you have to believe you deserve it. Then you have to make sure that you have something that you can earn money with. So it's either going to be your ideas. You can sell your ideas. You
like
can
a trainer.
Yeah, like a trainer. You can sell your time. you can sell your products, you can sell your services, which means that you have to have some skill. Or you have to have somebody else who could do it for you.
You have to see your skill, right?
Well, you have to either see your skill or determine what skills are needed.
Okay.
And if you don't have it, get somebody else who has it to help you. And so when somebody tells me I want to make more money, I say to them, let's say we have a pen. I don't have a pen here, but if we had a pen,
Yes.
and we wanted to make money, we could go and find somebody who wants to buy this pen right now. And how much is somebody willing to pay for the pen? Well, if the pen is worth $1, maybe you can get $1 for it. But what about finding somebody who needs it because they have to sign a contract that's due in 10 minutes? That person might pay $100 for that pen.
Yeah.
So our job is to take, our skills, our knowledge, our products, our services, our abilities, and to be able to present it to people who need it and want it in exchange for money. I think feeling and knowing that you've used your life in a way that makes yourself proud, that you're proud of. You felt like, what a journey, and I left it all out on the field. I just left it all in the field. That's my own greatness, is knowing that I used my life in a way that I left it all out on the field, that the bruises, the bangs, the trials, the tribulations, the highs, the lows, that you used it. As soon as you blame, shame, or justify, you are disempowering yourself instead of being responsible for your emotions, your feelings, your attitude, and your actions. When you take responsibility, then you are not at the mercy of the outside world and what happens in the outside world. You learn how to upgrade your emotional ability. So whether you're happy or sad or disgusted or frustrated or angry or fearful, you know how to navigate the emotions that causes either the motivational center in your brain to light up or the fear center in your brain to light up, thereby causing you to stop and procrastinate and not take action. Everybody can be an entrepreneur, but I don't want anybody to go and be an entrepreneur who's got a lot of passion, for a product or a service or something that they love, without realizing that there are many hats that you have to wear. Right? There's the person who has to know all the little details. There's the person who has to have the vision. There's the person who has to manage. There's the person who has to create the strategies and the tactics of what to do. Then there's the person who has to drive those forward. Those are 6 different things that have to be done, just different hats in a business that most entrepreneurs aren't aware of.
Yeah.
And so they start and they're busy and they're working really hard and they go, God, this is hard.
Yeah.
And it is hard. And they think that they have to do it all themselves. And that's not the truth.
Yeah, you have to learn to delegate, right?
Yeah. Well, you can delegate, you can partner with people, you can barter with people. There's a variety of different ways to do it. But first you have to know what you don't know.
It's not easy.
Well, it's not easy if you're the one trying to figure it out. But if you talk to somebody or hire somebody who's an expert, they'll tell you in seconds. It's like, when you came over here, and you're setting up all your cameras and your lights and all that stuff, you did that in 15 minutes. If I was to do that, it would take me 15 days. Because you're playing at this.
Yeah.
You've done 150 interviews now, right?
Yes.
And so you already know, you've learned 150 times and a setup and takedown and mistakes and what to do right, what to do wrong, what you need to have backups for, what to do for editing, for lighting, for daytime, for nighttime, for clouds, if the voice works, if the sound. There's hundreds of things you have to learn just for this.
Yeah.
Oh, and you have to be an excellent interviewer too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's so many things that you didn't know when you first started this that now you know. So imagine if I wanted to do what you do, I could say, well, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go and figure out which cameras to buy and which lighting to buy and how many batteries do I need and how many wires do I need and how many plugs do I need for the walls and how many backup systems do I need. I could try to figure all that out. Or I could say to you, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you give me a list of what to do, what not to do, what to buy, what not to buy, how much it should be, where I should buy it? You could say, yeah, I could do that in 1 or 2 hours.
Yeah.
I could save months, if not a year of my time and
emotion,
money.
and everything.
Right. And so I much prefer to find the specialized knowledge and pay for that and just apply it. If you don't understand that every brain has an error detection mechanism within it, okay, what is that? Anytime you veer out of your comfort zone, the fat point setting or the financial setting, anytime you veer out of it, the first line of defense is self-talk that's negative. That's the first thing that pops up because your brain is going, that's not true. So it's detecting an error between what you said as an affirmation or even what you just visualized or even what you just did against the predominant neural patterns that exist. So it's an 800-pound gorilla initially fighting the flea, right? In Dan Heath's book. And so what we want to do is we want to get the conscious goal, the vision, aligned with the non-conscious pattern. And as soon as you align that, you have neural coherence. And when you have neural coherence, that's like hearing your most favorite band playing your favorite song, and you're just like, oh, that's the best.
Bliss, yeah.
It's just bliss.
Yeah.
If it's not bliss, you're out of coherence. And so the key, and why we start off early with meditation, is awareness of how do I tune in my vibration? How do I let go of that unempowered self-talk, that sentence, that thought that I had, or that disempowering? It's an unpleasant feeling. Beliefs aren't good or bad. They're only pleasant to unpleasant at varying degrees. When we're out of coherence, it's unpleasant unless our life is on the line and safety is there. For the most part, a fear of failing, where's that coming from? We failed our whole lives successfully.
Yeah, exactly.
But the meaning that we're giving, what people will say, what people will think, how I'll be embarrassed or ashamed, those are all the things that you need to really get in tune with. Yeah. Every level of success that you want to achieve in health, wealth, relationships, career, business, etc., requires a new understanding of a skill and a new behavioral pattern. What got you to where you are is not enough to get you to where you want to go. Why do I say that? Because if it was enough to get you to where you want to go, you would already be there. So what got you here will not get you there. Maybe some stepping stones, but every level of success requires a new level of skill and behavior. And I'm going to go back to one of the other lessons. Since we develop beliefs and habits and behaviors that go from conscious effort to non-conscious habits, in order to achieve the next level of success, you have to learn how to create new habits of thought, new emotional management skills, and new behaviors to match the level of success that you want to achieve.
Because I felt dumb, I read thousands of books and did hundreds of courses. And because I didn't feel like I was smart enough, I took the thing that could have, made my life a mess and turned it into my fuel for success. And because I lived with parents that didn't have a great marriage, I ended up divorcing twice. But because of all of those things, I studied and researched and dove deep into who do I need to be to have a great relationship? What communication skills must I have?
One of my keys to success was that the path of least resistance is to learn from somebody who's already achieved the success you want to achieve. I always looked for experts that already tried 1,000 things and found the 1 or 2 things that actually work. So I've taken a shortcut. And that's why I was able to become a multimillionaire before I was 30. I just followed individuals that were worth over $100 million. I followed people that were healthy, that figured out all the stuff that doesn't work and gave me the blueprints, the map of what did work. So I went to specialized knowledge versus information.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from John Assaraf, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
If you want to double your income, you might also need to upgrade your knowledge and your skills to match the income that you want to make.